Now, it's no secret that building a long-term dividend portfolio is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's also not going to allow you to reach financial freedom overnight by any means. I mean, after all, I've been investing for around 9 years, almost compulsively spending a ton of money every single day in the markets, buying different dividend-paying stocks and ETFs, not to mention reinvesting every single dollar I've been paid from those dividend-paying stocks and ETFs consistently on a monthly and quarterly basis since I started. And only to this point, I'm currently earning north of $90,000 per year and around $7,600, $7,700 per month. Now, I'm saying this not to discourage you by any means, but actually to make you more motivated than ever, because I just recently went over some basic math and found out what the average salary was in the United States and did some back of the hand math and figured out exactly how many shares of JEPQ, the JP Morgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF, you would need to buy into in order to have these dividends coming from JEPQ to completely cover your salary. Now, like I said, this is not necessarily something that you're going to be able to do overnight, but it is very obtainable and something that I, a 32-year-old investor, has been able to do over the last decade or so. So if you want to see exactly how many shares of JEPQ you would potentially need to buy into in order to live off JEPQ's dividends completely and see all the math included, well, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. Now, of course, we are all going to have different living expenses. Maybe some of you guys have a rent or a mortgage of $1,000 per month, and maybe some of you guys have a mansion that costs you $50,000 per month. But regardless, for this video, we're going to be going over the average salary in the US, which is around $66,000 per year. Now, when I was doing some basic math, I figured out that you don't really need to have that many shares of that many different high-yielding ETFs in order to get pretty close or to be able to surpass this average salary amount. And what that meant to me is that if nothing else, I need to make a video and share with you guys what these numbers look like, how to do the math, because if nothing else, this is going to be extremely motivating. Now, you can of course do this math with any different dividend paying stock, ETF, or even a rental property, but for this video's example, we're going to be using JEPQ because again, this ETF is very popular. It offers a nice juicy high starting yield, and again, probably a lot of you guys already own it. I mean, I personally own $25,000 of this one and love this ETF for what it has to offer. Now, the math for this is going to be very, very simple. What we're going to do is something, of course, you guys should also do with your own situation, but we're going to be looking at $66,000, which is the average salary. And again, maybe you need a lot more than this. Maybe after taxes, it's not necessarily going to work. But again, I don't think any of us are going to be complaining of receiving $60,000 plus in dividends per year. So the way we're going to do this is look at the average salary, $66,000, and divide it by 12. Now, that brings us to $5,500 per month. Now, JEPQ doesn't pay the same amount every single month, more or less, but as of recently, it paid 48 cents, 45 cents, 45 cents, 50 cents, etc., etc. Now, if we were to take that monthly amount of $5,500 and divide it by the most recent JEPQ payouts, in theory, you would need around 11,410 shares of JEPQ ETF, and this is in order to surpass the average salary in the USA. Now, here's the hard part. I'm by no means saying that it's easy to acquire 11,410 shares of JEPQ. I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight or maybe even ever, but I do promise you that it is possible. Someone out there has done it, which means you can also. Now, based upon the most recent price of JEPQ, which is around $52 per share, an investor would need to buy around $593,000 worth of JEPQ in order to be now making as much as the average salary, all from JEPQ's dividends alone. Now, here's the cool thing. Because this does not have to happen overnight, you don't need to go find $600,000 tomorrow and dump it into JEPQ or whatever stock or ETF you're interested in buying into that pays dividend income. But let's say you have a goal of acquiring 10,000 shares of any stock or ETF. And then let's say every single year you get to the point where you're adding 750 shares to your portfolio. After a single year, that daunting task of acquiring 10,000 shares, for example, of a dividend paying ETF or stock, and for this video's example using JEPQ, now you would only need to acquire 9,250, and that's after just one single year. And then let's say you have a big year at work, you do some side gigs, you gain a bunch of active income, and you get further and further along your journey and closer to your goal, stacking more and more shares of, let's say, JEPQ, for example, or whatever the case might be, getting you closer and closer to your long-term dividend goal. Now, again, looking into my long-term portfolio, I did not build this overnight. I did not spend $1 to $2 million in dividend paying stocks and ETFs in a single day or two. It took several years, almost a decade or so, and that's after me obsessing over the idea of acquiring more and more shares. Even to this day, adding a share here or a share there is still just as exciting. But that's simply because I personally am hyper obsessed on getting to the goal of $8,500 per month on average in dividends per year. Now, how am I going to get to $8,500 per month this year? I have absolutely no idea. And honestly, to be honest, even if I reach somewhere near that, I'll still be very, very excited. But my goals are set, they're much, much bigger than I can even imagine, and even if I land somewhere below it, I'm still going to be much, much better off. So even though in theory an investor would need to spend around $600,000 into JEPQ based off of the most recent dividend payouts in order to earn enough dividends to now surpass the average US salary. $600,000 is a lot of money, but again, it's not impossible, especially over a certain amount of time frame based upon your average income, etc., etc. So now after going through exactly how many shares of JEPQ you'd potentially need and how much it would cost to surpass the average US salary, I'd lastly most importantly want to hear from you guys down below. What are some stocks or ETFs that you're buying as of right now on a consistent basis, getting you closer and closer to your long-term dividend goals? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.